What up, gamers? I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice and Dragons, we are going to be reviewing Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon Crystal Dice Challenge. Now, this is a re-implementation of Button Mend, originally designed by James Ernest. Don't worry, he's back working on this one, as well as having some assistance from Marck MacKinnon. And this is published in conjunction with Toei Animation, the owners of the Sailor Moon Crystal license. And it is Dyskami Publishing, as well as Japanime Games, that have brought this to you and to our table. Now, what is this, Julie?
It is a competitive game that plays 2 to 8 players. It's intended for ages 10 and above. Box says that it plays in 5 to 60 minutes. Now, with 2 players, 5 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, definitely about, I'd say closer to the 10 to 15 minute mark. But if you're going to be playing one of the tag team battle modes or with multiple characters, it can definitely take longer.
So what's particular about this review, Jason?
Well, this is a review copy that was provided to us by Japanime Games. Big thanks to them to giving us the opportunity to take a look at Sailor Moon Crystal. And as always,
our opinions are our own.
Yes. So, what are you going to be doing in Sailor Moon Crystal Dice Challenge? Well,
you're chucking dice.
Yes, chucking dice. You're going to be using the values on your dice to capture your opponents. Once a die is captured, it cannot be used by your opponent. To do that, you need to equal or surpass the face value of their dice. You can do that with 1 die or with multiple dice. At the end of that round, a person will gain the victory token. That will be the one that has the most points. You will need to gain 3 victory tokens in order to win the game. Now, with that being said, Julie, what time is it?
Time to grab our drinks.
Grab our best friend, because you know the Sailor Scouts are friends.
We're going to take it to the table one more time.
Yeah, one more time. Maybe I'll finally beat you, because I haven't been doing so hot at this one. Now we're going to take a quick look at the components for Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon Crystal Dice Challenge. We'll start with the rule book. Now, there is not really a handy reference guide on the back. This describes how to do tournament play. Everything you need is inside the rule book. You've got really just like a 2-page breakdown of the gameplay. It's really straightforward. After that, you have a nice breakdown of all the different special abilities. So as you can see, Planet Power, Mass Defender, Command Center, Dark Kingdom, Crystal Ball, Legendary Silver Crystal, King's Hologram, Crystal Tokyo, Malefic Black Crystal, Death Phantom, Droid Dice, and just a little nice summary of the characters, example of play, and then over here we've got the rules for single combat with teams or tag team combat, and a few other ways that you can play the game. Now here we've got the cards for all the different characters. So of course we've got Sailor Moon, Sailor Mercury, Sailor Mars, Sailor Jupiter, Sailor Venus, Tuxedo Mask, Luna and Artemis, and then Sailor Moon's other form, Princess Serenity, as she, I believe that might be her mother there, Queen Serenity. Then we've got Sailor Shippy Moon, we've got Neo Queen Serenity, King Endymion, then of course the voices of the Dark Kingdom with Zoisite, Jadeite, Nephrite, Kunzite, Queen Beryl, and then Sapphire for the forces of the Dark Moon. So we've got Saphir, Rubius, Black Lady, Esmeralda, Prince Diamond. Then, of course, there are droids. We've got Wise Man with his Death Phantom ability, one of the only abilities that doesn't actually have a token. And then we've just got some fun little chibi cards. Now, you may be wondering why we've got these 2 things here. Well, this is just, you know, a fun lanyard holder for conventions. It's so that you can easily play this when you're on the go. There are 2 sets of these. You can put the card in there, then you're just rolling the dice, so you won't have to worry about having a nice flat surface to play on. Now we've got 4 sets of dice. Each character, really, as you can see, like Sailor Moon takes 2d8s, so each character will be a mix of 2 sets of dice. If you do want to play with more characters, you'll need to add more. Then next we just have the tokens, so the victory token, some of the silver crystal tokens, another silver crystal token, planet token, Neo Tokyo, Mass Defender, King's Hologram, Dark Kingdom, Malefic Black Crystal, the Crystal Ball, and the command center abilities. Now, there are more of these tokens, as you can see, because it'll depend on the characters that you're playing and how many times they can be used, which is denoted there on the character. As you can see, there's starting dice and then the reserve dice that will be able to come into play as you're playing the game. So there you have it. We've covered all the components for Sailor Moon Crystal Dice Challenge. Keep it right here as I'm going to teach you how to play and set up the game. Now, normally we do that in 2 parts, but setup is really quick and straightforward, so we're going to do it all at once. Now let's teach you how to play and set up Sailor Moon Crystal Dice Challenge. So we've got Sailor Moon versus Queen Beryl. We're going to need their different ability tokens. Now we've got Queen Beryl's Crystal Ball, which means that you can make your opponent re-roll their starting dice. We've got the Planet Power for Sailor Moon, who gives her an extra turn. Now we need to take the dice for the characters. In this case, Sailor Moon is going to be red and green. So I'm just going to put all the dice out in front. A little easier that way. And then we'll go ahead and get them set up. So Sailor Moon needs 2d8, a d10, a d20. Her reserve dice are a d12, 20, 10, and a 6. Now, it doesn't matter what color dice you decide to keep, so long as that you make sure your reserve dice are placed off to the side and do not get rolled with the others. Let's take a look at Queen Beryl. Starting die of d4, d8, d12. We'll just mix up the colors here. d20, the reserve of 20, 12, 10, and 4. Now, these dice also get returned to the box, and we are now ready to play the game. So what we need to do is we need to make our starting roll. I'll line this up. Actually, I'll use a green one just to have a little bit more variety in color. That was a 5. We've got an 8 and a 3. We'll roll Queen Beryl starting dice, which we get a 3. So I'll just pick up the d4 and show you a 3. Now we're going to go in descending order. So 10. That doesn't matter. We'll do it in dice order. 10, 1, 5, and 3. Now the player that goes first is the player with the lowest die value. Now if, for example, I had a d10 that was a 1, that would then cancel each other out. We then go to the 3s that would then cancel each other out. The 5s cancel each other out. So the 10 would actually be the lowest roll. That's just to give you an example of how it will work. So basically, the player with the lowest number after you compare all 4 starting dice is the one that will go first. Now, what you're trying to do in this game is you need to capture your opponent's dice. Now, you can do that by making a 1-for-1 trade. So I could take the d20, I can capture Sailor Moon's d8, or then roll my die again to get a new value. Now, it's not as good as it was, so keep that in mind when you're making those decisions. The higher the value, the easier it is to protect the die from your opponents, but it can also become a tempting target because there's another way to attack your opponent's dice, which is known as a skill attack, when you can use multiple dice to, for example, to try to get theirs. In this case, we could use all of our dice, mainly because this one is just terrible for d12. We could use, and this gives us a value of 10, 11, plus 5 would give us 16, plus another 3 would give us 19, which is greater than 18. If we didn't have the 1, we'd be equal to, and we'd still be able to capture it. So it's greater than or equal to. But we really want to just reroll the 1. And this is what I would actually do in the game. I would not necessarily have Sailor Moon reroll her dice. So Queen Beryl will use all 4 dice to capture Sailor Moon's d20, which we're going to place here. We then get our next set of dice, which is 8, 3, 7, and 6. Well, that 6 isn't very good. 3 is not great on a d8, neither is a 5 on a d10. Now we could either do 1-for-1, and ugly, ugly. Don't like what they got. The 6 is not a great value, though, so you really got to try to decide strategy-wise what you want to do. For example, I can trade the 8 straight up, or actually just do the 5 and the 3 right now to take Queen barrels 8. I may regret that and wish I'd taken the 20. There we go. We get a 9 and a 7. So looking at this, if they want the 9, they'd have to spend the D20 and the D4, which is a 3. Capture the 9. Roll again. See, and then what's where it gets complicated, right? Because they're at 12. I've got my 8 and the 7. If I get a good roll, yeah, well, we'll have to take this off the board. It's just the way it's going to work. Hopefully we get something good. 5 and a 2. Ugh, that's ugly. So then what happens? D12. Well, the 3 is great on a 4. So you'd want to just use the D12 to take the 5, which when you do that actually means there's nothing else that I can do. And I'd have to pass at this point. I might want to consider using the extra turn for Sailor Moon. So just not in a great spot here, which means that Queen Barrel gets to use another one of their dice to capture. We then count up the number of points. And now each die is worth the amount of faces they have. So that's 20, 10, so 30, 8, 46, plus any dice that you've kept gain half their value. 46, 48, plus another 6 brings us to 54. As you can see, Sailor Moon only has a total of 28 points. Now, don't worry, there will be some ways to catch up in the game. Everyone gets back their starting die. Queen Barrel will gain their victory token. First of 3 victory tokens will be the one to win the game. But we can now bring in a reserve dice, and Sailor Moon's going to decide to bring in her D20. Now we've got 5 dice to 4. We're going to go ahead and roll. Ooh, that is a really good starting roll. Queen Barrel's going to roll. Oh, that's a nice roll too. Not as great as Sailor Moon. And that roll's really good. You might want to just take your crystal ball for Sailor Moon to re-roll their dice. Oh, and I knocked that 10 off, so still pretty good, but not as good. And then play would continue. Now, if you did happen to skip ahead over the components, in the rule book, in the middle of the rule book, you've got all the details as to what the different special abilities do. So there you have it. That's really how you're going to be playing Sailor Moon Crystal Dice Challenge. Now keep it right here, as Julie and I are going to be coming back at you with our review of the game. Now before we get into our review, just to make things clear, I'm the Sailor Moon fan, not Julie. I was one that grew up with this property in my household. It was one of the only things that my sister and I could agree to watch. I'd watch Ronin Warriors, also known as Samurai Troopers. Well, they got it translated in Japanese now. It's awesome. Love to see a game based on that. And we would watch the shows every day. So I was really excited to get this to the table, see how we had a nice implementation of a quick, easy to play Sailor Moon game. So that being said, I'm now going to let Julie take it away and give her thoughts on this game.
So as you said, I'm not really the fan. I'm aware of the property in the sense that I worked at a bookstore, and whenever a book came out, it was pandemonium.
Very popular in the 90s. Also, just to clarify, neither of us have played Button Men before. So this is our first experience with the system.
So I thought I was intrigued. I mean, it's dice chucking, and I have enjoyed quite a few dice chucking games that we've reviewed.
I grew up playing Yahtzee, so
yes, good comparison. This is kind of like playing Yahtzee, but
in terms of the push your luck,
with the dice, yes. So I have nothing much to say from a IP perspective, because it doesn't mean much to me. I mean, it looks like Sailor Moon, and that's pretty much all I can say. So I'll let you comment on the other things. I will say the powers that each of the characters have are definitely not balanced. That's my opinion. What do you think about that?
I have to agree with you. I do not think this game has a lick of balance. And when Julie's talking about the powers, just even in terms of the gameplay, the fact that you can use as many dice as you want.
I was going to get into that after.
On a skill attack in order to capture another player's dice, I think is something that just really can throw the game into a lot of chaos and randomness, and you're relying more on the dice rolls than anything else in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty frustrating to have, you have a really good roll on your 20-sided dice. Let's say you roll a 20. Well, somebody can use all of their dice to pick up, that one dice. I think you should have a maximum number of dice that you can use to pick up somebody else's dice, but that's not part of the rules.
No, it is not. We looked at it a few times. You didn't quite believe me.
I'm like, really? Really? You can use that many dice to pick up my one dice, can you?
You still won most of the time.
The other thing that I think is a little bit that skews the power is the fact that there really is, at least in a 2-player game, quite an advantage to having the lowest dice and going first.
And I have to agree with you. I mean, for those of you that were watching the Out of Play, where I went through a quick round of the game, as you saw, the player that did not have the best rolls was the one that actually ended up being the winner, just because of the fact that they were able to take that bigger die off the table and then some of their powers and special abilities. The match was, because you definitely have not seen it yet, was Sailor Moon versus Queen Beryl. So Sailor Moon could take her extra turn, but it really didn't come up in that first round.
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes I'd find if I had a bad roll that I'd hope that I'd have the lowest dice, because that allows you to fix your bad roll, basically. So
yeah, because you can use all your dice.
If you have a bad roll, but the other player has a worse roll, then you're basically out of luck, because you won't get to re-roll. You'll lose, your highest dice, basically, and you'll have a lot less opportunity.
Well, and a perfect example is the last game we played. The only game I won, by the way, was on your second roll. You rolled all threes. I was like, wow, there's absolutely nothing you could do to win that game. We were literally one turn into a round, essentially, and it was like, oh, well, I win. I was just like, take this die, take this die, take this die, because there was nothing that you could do. All my dice were higher than the collective value of everything that you rolled. It's bad luck, but
I had also started with better dice. It's just because I use them
to get my 20-sided die off the table.
Yeah, I use them to get that, and then I rolled again, and then I rolled basically, I think, a total of 6. Is what I rolled.
That was kind of crazy. You went yuck, and I was like, wow, I'm gonna win, yay! So, because I never won.
So for me, the positive I would say is it's a quick game. Yeah. The other positive I would say is you're chucking dice.
And it's very portable. If you skipped over the components, there's even lanyards included. So if you would like to play this at an anime convention, it's very easy to bring with you. I would say you don't even need to bring the box. Just throw some dice and the cards in your bag. Maybe scan some sheets from the rule book just so you've got the list of powers, but there is a little bit of a reference on the cards.
You could have them on your phone.
Yeah. Well, it's true. I wasn't thinking 2020. I'm looking at Sailor Moon and my brain is going to 90s, conventions, sheets of paper, things like that. But so you can play this inline sitting on the floor very easily.
Part of the things that bothered me about this game were things that you can't really take away. You can't really fault it for either. I mean, it is a push your luck dice chucking game. That's what it is. And you can't expect it to be more than that. So that's what it is. And that's pretty much what it is. I don't know what else to add for this, honestly.
No, well, I'll also add a little bit more because you're not the fan of the IP. This, besides doing a team battle where you're all the Sailor Scouts versus all the generals of the Dark Kingdom, or if you remember the 90s badly translated version, the Negaverse, it doesn't really capture the theme. I mean, for a Sailor Moon game, I'd much rather be playing the role of the Sailor Scouts versus the villains in some way that was a little bit more substantial. I mean, in this, you can even play Sailor Scouts versus Sailor Scouts. It feels more like you're playing a 90s fighting game, or, even some of the fighting games now where maybe, at least with Injustice, there's a reason why there's good and bad versions of the superheroes, but it's you're fighting each other. It's like a versus comic book, and while it does work, I really would like to see something much better with a property that is so beloved by many and has just gained such a worldwide fandom. Now, as Julie said, this is a push your luck dice chucking game. It does that very well. It fits its niche of being something that's highly portable, can be played just about anywhere very easily. I just think the box should be smaller if that's what they were going for. And if you look at the price, the one thing I would have to say, this is definitely on the high end for what you're getting in the box. That's the licensing cost though. So, I mean, Toei's name is right there on the box, so you get a little bit of an idea what's going on. There's not much more I think to add. I would say that this game is definitely not for us. If you saw the setup and how to play and you like this type of game, you're definitely going to enjoy it. If you're looking for a quick 5 to 10 minute filler and you loved Yahtzee or you've played Button Men, then this is something that you will definitely enjoy. But for us, this just doesn't fit with what we like to play. I know I'm speaking a little bit for Julie. You can chime in if I'm wrong.
Well, I think it would translate by the score we would give it.
Okay, so I think that we've said enough about the game. Let's give the score of the game.
I'm very sorry to say this is a 5.5 for me.
For me, this is a 5. I love the theme a little bit more than you do, and the lack of any sort of co-op thing for Sailor Moon just hurts my heart a little bit, so it's definitely a 5. The game succeeds at doing exactly what it intends to do, but I don't feel that I've got enough agency or enough control over the random elements of the game to give it a higher score. If there was just a little bit more of that, I think the game could easily be a 6 or 6.5. As it is, it feels like it's just random chaos, and if you get the rolls going your way, you're going to win the game.
I couldn't help but think of Will Wheaton playing this game and thinking how much this is not his game. I think I actually mentioned that. I think we'd watched a bunch of tabletop recently, and when we started playing this, and I said, yeah, this is not a game for Will Wheaton.
No, because as you know, the moment he's on camera, he is the worst die roller on the planet.
Yes.
So, with that being said, what time is it, Julie?
It's time to remind people to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified when we have new content for you.
Also, down below in the video description, you can find links to all of our social media feeds. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, if you'd like to see pictures of us playing Pretty Guardian, Sailor Moon Crystal Dice Challenge. There are plenty of those on all the feeds. You can also see a little bit as to what's coming up, what we're playing, especially if we're going back and playing some of our older games, which we're trying to make some more time for right now. Then popping up in front of me, you're going to see a link to our most recently released video. And in front of Julie, we're going to take you back to another Japanime Games release. I think it's going to be Cowboy Bebop Space Serenade.
Much higher score on that one.
Yes, we love that game. So what time is it now?
Time to grab our drinks.
Grab our best friend.
We're going to keep playing games.
Going to keep playing games. Be interesting to see what's next for the Sailor Moon Crystal license.